Hey, how's it going, everybody? Geoff Shackley here, drum instructor with Freeway Music, and today I'd like to take a look at a groove that I made up, and this one is inspired by legendary drummer David Garibaldi. Garibaldi is a very funky drummer, probably best known for his work with the group Tower of Power, which is a very funky band. You should definitely check them out if you haven't already. One thing that I've always liked about Garibaldi's playing, besides how tight and in the pocket he is all the time, is that he liked to explore the idea of displacing a groove, which essentially means that maybe either your downbeat, your backbeat, or both aren't in the places that you would normally expect to find them. A lot of people expect to hear a groove and be like, that starts right on beat 1. Or you hear the snare drum and you're like, that's on 2 and 4. I know music. But that's not always the case. You have a lot of great grooves for those, that where that downbeat feel or that backbeat feel is somewhere else in the measure. It's always fun when you can listen to a song and they've got either like a guitar or bass riff going on or a drum beat going on. You're like, oh, the beat's here. And then you end up finding out that the beat's actually, a beat and a half off from what you thought it was, because they just came up with a really cool riff that sounds like it starts somewhere else. So that kind of playing is what inspired this particular groove, and I really like playing it. I mess around with it all the time in my free time just because it's fun to play. So let's start. I'm going to start at the very beginning. I'm going to start at the top of the measure, and then we'll take a look at where the downbeat feel actually is. So, beat 1, it's going to be 4/16 notes, 1 E and a, fairly simple. You're going to start with 1 E on your snare drum with your left hand, and these are ghost notes. Remember ghost notes? They're not scary, they're just quiet. So we've got some ghost notes on that snare drum. On your and of 1, you're going to have the kick drum over here. And then on the of 1, you're going to have your right hand on the hi-hat. So that sounds a little something like this. One E and a. All right, now beat 2, we've got 8th notes. And what's fun about transitioning between beats 1 and 2 is that the of 1 and the downbeat of 2 are both on the hi-hat. So you have a little double there at the end. And then also, you are going to open up the hi-hat on the downbeat of 2. So playing the of 1 and the downbeat of 2, you have that double is just always fun for me to play. I enjoy it. And then the and of 2, you're going to close that hi-hat with your foot and play the snare drum at regular volume with your left hand. So beat 2 sounds like this. That's really straightforward. That's like rock beat number 2. So let's play beats 1 and 2 together. So 1 E and a 2 and. All right, that was simple. Now let's look at beat number 3. Beat number 3, to keep things simple, is exactly the same as beat number 2. 3 and. Only you hit the whole drum and not just the rim. So let's put beats 1, 2, and 3 together. 1 E and a 2 and 3 and. And now for beat 4. Beat 4, we're going to have 16th notes again. So we'll have 4 E and A. And it's basically, it's going to be a right-handed paradiddle. So right hand is going to be on the hi-hat. Left hand is going to be a ghost note on the snare drum. But then we're also going to have your right foot mimic your right hand. So 4 and A is going to be right hand on the hi-hat and foot on the kick drum. And then E is going to be a ghost note on the snare drum here. All right, so let's try and put that whole thing together. 1 E and A, 2 and 3 and 4 E and A. So, listening to that groove being played on repeat, can you hear where the downbeat is, where that feel comes in? I feel like Dora the Explorer right now, like, hey guys, where's the downbeat? You're right, beat 4. And somebody else was out like, I thought it was beat 3. I was wrong. But yes, it's on beat 4, that paradiddle. So if you were to start this groove, you would count 1, 2, 3, 4 E and A, 1 E and A, 2 and 3 and 4 E and A, 1 E and A, 2 and 3 and. So let's play it in the right feel. Count it in the right way. So you see, if I start it right there, it feels a little bit more normal. But when you start on the actual downbeat, beat 1 of the measure, everything feels weird. Starting on a ghosted double on your snare drum, like, well, that's a weird start to a groove. And that's because it's not really where the groove starts, but it's where the rest of the musicians would start playing if you're playing that groove with a group. So why don't I take that up to speed a little bit so you can hear that more at the typical tempo I feel like this one should go at. So there you have it. We have 1 E and A, 2 and 3 and 4 E and A. Like I said, it's really fun to just mess around with. I can just sit there and play that groove for hours. It's easy to get lost in. Has a couple little doubles in there that are fun to play around with. Displacement of the groove is very fun to listen to and think of in your head as you're playing this groove. Like, what song would I want behind this? Like, what instrumentation would I put with this groove? So have fun with this one. Play around with it. See what you can do. And then take this general idea and make it your own. Can you make up a cool groove that has a displaced backbeat or a displaced downbeat? Do what you can with it. Until next time, just remember, have fun. Stay safe. Always practice with a metronome. And we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.